Christian,
Yes, sir.
good to see you. How long have you been in the program?
I joined, it would have been, I think, literally like the first day of February of 2025.
Okay, so yeah, really recently.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, where were you at when you first started?
So I was in a unique position because I come from traditional filmmaking, correct? Like I'm talking, I came from LA, came up through the ranks, did PA work, production manager, producing work, did a lot of stuff on that side for years. I was out in LA for almost 10 years after college, so I had a little bit different journey than most of these guys. So I was in more of the traditional filmmaking. And just did the long 12, 15-hour days on set for $200 for the love of the filmmaking and whatnot, right? But then after
It's a great lie, isn't it?
after all the grinding and all that stuff, it's just end of the day, like I wasn't fulfilled. I had to rely on production managers calling me, filling me in. So I did that for years, and it was just very much so like one-off jobs here, one-off jobs there, and so we never really had like any reoccurring monthly income. Somehow I landed a client in the construction space through LinkedIn messaging, right? And so beginning of this year, that was my only monthly client at $4,000. So coming into the program, I had $4,000 in February 1st monthly, and here we are in November, and we just eclipsed 80,000.
Nice.
So,
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I'd say a large, from what I understand, you took what we taught, you took the systems, and you executed on it in your area.
Yes.
And you probably just reinvested what you took and spent that in paid ads, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the biggest unlock? Because obviously you went from first starting, you got lucky on LinkedIn, then you were probably able to afford some ad spend.
Yep.
What was the transition like? What did you start spending? How much did you start spending? How did you start? Because did you have a sales background, or did you because obviously you start running ads, you get sales calls, and then you got to figure out how to close those sales calls, and then you got to figure out. So what did that look like?
I mean, if you would have told me that I would be taking sales calls a year ago, I would have laughed at you, okay? So, I had absolutely zero sales calls experience whatsoever. I'm very much to myself. I avoid speaking to people, if I can. And so it was very much out of my comfort zone. And it just came down to, do I want to provide for my family? Do I want to actually be fulfilled? And if these are kind of the things that I need to learn, then I'm going to go ahead and do it at the end of the day. So that was really the turning point for me, coming into a group like this, seeing what's possible, the guys in there making 20, 30,000, all that money. Yeah. Yeah, it's if I can, I remember thinking in my head, man, if I can make $10,000 a month, I'll be good, And so, that was kind of the mindset coming into it. And then just seeing that these guys put in the work, and it's not as outlandish or crazy. It's very simple in a way. It's just you need to know the processes. So that was really the biggest thing, just kind of learning it and then actually doing the work. It's you can be told, all day, do this and this, but it's you actually put in the effort and the action, then you're going to reach your goal or your commitment.
Another thing, you mentioned family. What was your family like? You have kids?
Yeah, so I'm very, very fortunate to have a almost 2-year-old son, and we just found out we have one on the way. So,
all right.
And it's been a struggle, man. It's not easy having kids, and it's it's a grind, and so being able to hear it just in the last few that it was 10 months of trying, so it's a long time, and I'm ecstatic. I want to have as many kids as I can, so yeah, man, I'm on the journey, and I think that too was a big thing. I joined the group in February, and my son was born January 10th. So it's everyone says to you, yo, you'll have kids and you'll get in gear, or you see those people in life, even when you're younger, and you're man, that guy turned his life around, and a lot of people can attribute it to kids. And I think for me, it's you do have that moment, yes, oh my God, I'm gonna be a dad, but it's can I provide for my family in my current state? And so, yeah, taking that leap of action for my family, it was a big, thing why I did this, because I knew like I have to get it together. And I remember me and my wife having conversations, and she's like, like we need to be making X amount of money per month, essentially. And I'm like, we're gonna do it. Like we're gonna make it happen. Like don't stress it. The money will come, and it's just having that, just going out and getting it, man. Like being able to provide for your family at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously I talked about it in my presentation. I love my family, love my wife, love my kids, and I'm super blessed that I have the ability to provide for them. We talked about how I was slapped with that giant medical bill for my daughter, and it's okay because she's here, and that's the important part. But if I wasn't in the position that I was to be able, like in business and create my own income, I would not have been able to afford that. And that was the thing that was like, I think that most people, if you're serious about it and you really want to work hard and you're an A player, this is for you.
Yeah.
If you want to achieve a lot in life, this is exactly where you should be, because if you are planning on having a family, you have a responsibility as a husband, as a father, to provide for those people. And there's another reason, like, am I going to buy, and we talked about it earlier, am I going to spend 10 grand on a watch, or would I rather put that in, a savings account for my kid to go to some form of education as when they're older?
Yeah.
And those are examples of things of like, you're just taking from your future self. And I think when I had a higher purpose, I already was like really obsessed. I really wanted to grind. I really wanted to work hard and build something big. But when I had a family, it finally became that extra leap of, now I have something outside of myself to be able to provide for. It was very, very helpful for me, because I get the privilege of going to work. I get to go to work every day to provide for them, and I think about them a lot, because that's really fulfilling for me, knowing that they're doing well, they're doing happy, they're happy, and I get to provide enough for my wife to be able to stay home and work from work. She doesn't work, like she has her own business, but she stays home and takes care of the kids, and primary is that. And so that's like, I'm blessed to do that.
Dude, that's like the goal, like that's the reason why I do it, is to get to my wife in that position so she can focus on the kids and be the mom that she truly wants to be. She doesn't want to be working, so it's on me to make it happen. So, and I think what's big, man, is like you said, like you were an A player, right? And I think that's the thing. Like I truly believe that I was an A player. I just didn't have the plan. I didn't have the roadmap. And so I think like for people that are in that position, that they truly feel that they are an A player, but they just don't have the direction, right? And I think this Cinema Marketer is a great place for those A players that might feel like, hey, like I am not fulfilled, right? I am sick of just shooting and being that video guy. Like what more can I do? I feel it inside me, right? And I think this is just a good spot to really find that purpose and like how to actually use your passion of video and put it all together to give back to your family at the end of the day, right? Yeah.
I think what's interesting is you've actually taken a huge departure from everyone else in here, which is what I tell everyone. I say you need to carve your own path. And a lot of people, when they're just getting started, sure, they want that, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And that may be good for them at that stage. But once you get past that initial stage of like, you're making your first money online through services locally or nationally, you want to get into a place where you're figuring out your own avatar. Who am I speaking to? Who am I working with? What am I talking to? What journey are they on? How do I provide the best service to them? And you've done an amazing job. I think better than almost anyone else in the community. Actually, you might have, I think, better than anyone else in the community. You've taken the studio model and you said, all right, we're gonna make this model work, and we're gonna figure out how we can have a local studio and have business owners come to us, which is unique. That's not a lot of people are doing. It's your competitive advantage too, because high quality, a lot of people can just produce reels, but not everyone wants to have their own dedicated studio area that they're not using a ton. But if you have your own studio area, you can have people who come in, film there, and it's a great service to them. It's a great service for you because it makes it easy for you to provide. They get a higher quality of service. So amazing work on executing on that. And then on top of that, you're probably, I think, you have, you're to your point about being an A player. You've said I love film work, but the $200 a day just wasn't cutting it, right?
No, it doesn't. So not if you want to provide for your family.
Exactly. So you shifted that and said, hey, I'm gonna let go of my ego, and I'm not gonna make my identity tied to one thing, and I'm gonna prioritize making money so that I can provide for my family.
Dude, ego right there, like, because the world I come from, right? Like the filmmaking, like these guys, like day rates for like actual DPs and camera operators are, you know, $1,500, maybe $2,500 a day, right? And like they think of it like, dude, we're doing these huge commercial shoots, big brands. Like you're really just doing, you know, videos for local businesses. And so like there's a lot of guys that I know that would be perfect fit for my team to do this work, but they can't drop the ego to shoot this stuff. They want to shoot these movies and commercials, and that's great. But it's like at the end of the month, they're struggling every single month. They're selling their gear, but they're on big sets. Awesome. But are they providing for their family?
Gear is one of the best stock markets because people buy gear high and sell low all the time because they're like, you know, they got a good month, they buy the gear, and then they're like have a bad month, and now they got to sell it fast, and so they just sell it at a discount.
That was my safety net. Like I had to sell my camera throughout my life maybe 3 or 4 times, you know, at that you get down to having nothing in your bank account and you know that your camera's worth $3,000 and you have to sell it, man. Like, I don't ever want to be in that position again.
Forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is now you know how to advertise, so you probably never will be hungry again because you actually know how to, and you know how to sell people. And I think the next skill that we're all working on together is the product and making a product that your avatar wants, and then shifting with the changing market conditions. Right, AI is coming really fast. That's changing a ton of things, and so you may have to change from a perspective of, are we just going to provide this one product or service, or are we going to adapt, and are we going to continue to work with the avatar, continue to make money, right? Like a lot of these guys, the filmmakers, they probably made, at one point, they made a ton of money, but market changed, doesn't pay as well anymore, so now you got to shift. And so to your point, do you want to do you want to hold on to your ego, or do you want to make money? And for me, it's a no-brainer. Like, you know, we're in this for the money. Where, you know, at the end of the day, my ego doesn't pay the bills. So
Exactly. Yeah. Like being on a cool set once a year, you know, that stuff fades. Yeah. So absolutely. The monthly income doesn't.
If you do it right.
Yeah. What do you think's next on the horizon for you? Because you've totally crushed the local model.
Yeah.
You have the ability. What's next?
Yeah. I think making a change, right? And like seeing like that we are hitting capacity with our current model. And so being able to shift, again, drop the ego of our current model and, you know, dip our toes in a little something different, right? And having the confidence to do that, because like, if I don't have the confidence to do that now, I didn't have confidence to do it in the beginning, right? I completely changed, so we have to do that again. And it's more just to grow the business and, you know, shifting our model so we're not maybe filming as much, but maybe we're doing other products to give the value, but we're cutting down on our fulfillment. And so in turns, we can add more clients with the same structure, the same team. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And then just moving more into the studio offer and expanding that. We are just local in Central Florida. We do want to do a statewide offer for maybe an elite group that makes over X amount that, you know, is just need different products than just your 3 ad set. So, so I think that's where, at least from what I'm gaining this week and road mapping out of what I think is best. And that's kind of where I'm at, I think, right now.
That's cool that you mentioned that. You're saying, hey, we're looking at a different level. You figure out what your avatar wants. You're probably, I'm assuming you're having those conversations with your current customers that maybe they want something more, and so you're figuring out what's the next product or service that we can upsell them to, so that you can take your LTV from whatever it may be now to much higher.
It's what, at this point in the business, we're truly focused on LTV. And so that's, you know, long term, I think, of course, is what's going to, you know, bring the most margins and be able to build the team out that I need. So yeah, I'm excited for the next chapter, I guess. Yeah. Amen.
That's amazing. So you got the systems in place to be able to scale.
Yes.
Now you're looking at how do you bring on the right people so that you can maintain quality.
That's the thing as well. And like actually paying quality people. Like a lot of guys are just overseas, and I've actually built quality people locally. That I can actually count on, and they're going to uphold the quality of work, and they're going to represent my business in the best light as possible. So
the biggest thing that I see people is, in a services-based industry, your product is the people. What that means is, if you have a business with bad people, a service business with bad people, you have a bad product. Sure. If you have a service business with great people, you should ideally produce great work and have a great product. And so I built my business, and I've had so many people that were telling me like, you got to hire overseas, you got to do this and that. We had mostly national, like people who were local editing our content, and that's why we did so well. People paid a lot of money because they had access to top talent. We had one guy who had 200 employees in India, and so this dude was massive.
Yeah.
He still hired us because he was like, man, like these guys, they just can't outperform the reels that you guys make, the video content that you guys make. And so that was as an example of having really high quality people will pay off, and that was one of our longest.
Yeah, and I think another thing with just having that quality people.
Actually, we're still working with him today. By the way, to be fair, you want to talk about Avatar? We provided that initial service to him, and with 3-4 years later, we've upsold him on a new service. So we're like, we had the new service offering. He was like, I'm actually in the market for this thing. Where we were talking, it's been years since we've worked. Yeah, and it was like, hey, we're doing that now. We should work together. So
that's awesome. Very cool.
What were we saying?
Just going back to like the right team, and just putting the right people in place and having to actually pay them, right? Because like for me, like our monthly ticket is more expensive, right? And I never want our clients on set or like talking to someone that ever have that thought of like, do these people know what they're actually doing? I want them to be like on set, like these guys are killers. Yeah. Like my money is going to, where I want it to go. Like these are guys that are going to take me from X to X and like do what we actually say we're going to do on these sales calls, right? And so like I think having really that in place builds a lot of trust with the clients. And so at the end of the day, they're not like, I'm not talking to this guy that can barely speak English, right? And I'm spending all this money or something like that. So like that's really a big thing. I think that we instill the trust and the confidence in our clients. And so at the end of the day, they're willing to pay because we're giving results and we know what we're doing and it's working. Yeah. So yeah.
It's and services, just in general, businesses barbells. It turns into a barbell because you have the middle of the product in terms of the middle of pricing where people get killed, murdered because it's just so competitive there. You either want to be the absolute cheapest option, and there's people go to Walmart. Walmart, you're probably not going to have a great experience. You might see some things at Walmart you maybe don't want to see, right? It's a little bit dangerous, not very clean, right? That's just in general. Like you're gonna pay for that because it's cheap.
Yep.
On the high end, you have something like going to high-end bag store, Rolex store, whatever it may be. You're gonna get that experience. So you either have the absolute cheapest or the highest, but you don't want to be in the middle. That's where it's so competitive you die. And so it sounds like you're going for the high end,
absolutely,
making sure, that's how you crush it in business.
Absolutely. And I think, I truly think like our services are worth that. I think that even at our price point now, it's a bargain. And I think when we do talk to actual business owners that know the marketing and we do pitch them the price, they say, yeah, it's what I thought it would be, And it's like, I'm like, yeah, absolutely, That's exactly. But like, I've had people that have asked me, hey, can you lower your price? And I say, absolutely not. And they go, okay, I'm going to go with you just because you're confident in your price.
You just tell them, well, what corners do you want us to cut? I used that recently. And they're like, no corners.
Yep. So it's been an awesome journey, man. And I'm excited to just keep pushing. And thanks to your support and Ridge and all you guys just really just giving us the right stuff, not fluffing anything up, not giving us so much stuff that we can't, take in the right stuff, just kind of positioning like, hey, you're at this point, this is what you need. Oh, you're at this point, this is what you need. So like it even goes to show like, I don't, even if you are at 0 monthly or if you're at 50 monthly, like there's a spot for you and you could learn no matter what. So I think that's really cool, and I think that's where I've gotten a lot of value throughout my whole journey, because like there are these programs that like might be perfect for beginners and then you tap out, right? There's been like a question that I couldn't come to you or Ridge, and then I'm like, it's always solid information, and thank you guys for that, man.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It was great talking with you, Christian. I'm excited to see your journey over the next few years as we continue to work together.
Absolutely, looking forward to it, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.